Drink it in, man.
Deep left side carry on. Picks on the block. At the 5. At the 2. At the 1 to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
Drink it in, man.
Get up, Stafford throws. It is end zone. Caught! Oh, baby, what a catch! Kenny Galladay, you're a freak! What a catch! Touchdown, Detroit Lions! Cornbread!
I love the Lions! Say it with me! I love the Lions!
Drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid, what's going on, everybody? Friday, we are back in the building, back in the house. Grifka's in the building. Grifka, it's Friday. Talk to the people.
Oh, yes, Friday, man. Beautiful weekend. Dog days of summer. That's why I love living in this state.
And
Thank God it's Friday.
what's the abbreviation?
TGIF.
There we go. Grifka, man, lots going on. We are recording here before we get to this preseason game, but what the heck's going on with the Lions that you want to talk to me? Because I'm fired up, man. I'm ready to get after you today. I'm ready to have some fun on this show. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, just a few things that I've read, when that's been happening at camp, and just wanted to get your opinion on it. Just read, was it Joe Dahl? He's competing for that guard, that open guard position, and he just got a 2-year extension. Do you think that means anything, or do you think they're just kind of using him as depth, or is this just kind of spreading out the money, making it a little easier to cut him, less of a salary cap hit? What do you think about this 2-year extension that Joe Dahl just got?
Oh boy, Grifka, I got to start off the podcast with this. You've listened to the show, right? You've been on the show with me in the past?
A couple times.
Is this a real question?
Yes, it is a real question. Considering we were
Okay,
questioning if he was going to make the team.
Yeah, so barring, I think you would know my answer.
That's terrible. That's a terrible idea. That's a terrible idea.
That was my take when I saw this come across Twitter. Like, I got in a big back and forth with some of our great Lions fans. Shout out Arthur. Gosh, I forget the other guy's Twitter handle that was backing up Joe Dahl like he was some type of all-pro. And I'm kind of like, I'm listening to them, and they're drinking that Detroit Koolaid. I mean, we got to respect that, right, Grifka?
Of course, always.
Drink it in, man.
I mean, they got a huge bucket of Kool-Aid because they're going on. Oh, Joe Dahl, he's a developing player. He's gaining strength. He could start at left guard this year or in 2020. It's a good signing because it's probably not for much money. And I'm sitting there listening to these guys. Like, again, respect all the fans out there. Respect the people that are, loving up on our Lions, and me, the guy that's usually positive about everything. I'm sitting there listening, going, Joe Dahl was drafted in the 5th round, I believe, 5th or 6th. I believe it was the 5th. He came from a college where all they did was pass block. The guy was undersized. All he did was pass block. We bring him in here to kind of be an interior run type, offensive guard type. So he spends 3 years trying to develop that. We did the whole gimmick about, we kept hearing, the good job, Joe Dahl, never played. Then we had some injuries on the O-line. He played. Was he great? I don't think so. Was he serviceable? Yes. I mean, the guy's never done anything in the league for 3 years, and people were acting like this is some genius move by Bob Quinn. BQ, my man, I love what the guy does. I'm sitting there going, is it just me, or I'm looking at this signing just going, absolutely this?
Well, Lottie frickin' Dahl!
It's Joe freaking Dahl. I'm like sitting there going, did we just sign the next guy to go to Canton? Offensive, like, so at the end of the day, I mean, all kidding aside, like, to me, if you got Joe Dahl at a great number for 2 more years, of course he could be a depth swing interior type guard with some tackle ability. Great, good for you. Do I hope he gets out and finally plays well? Sure. Have I seen anything from him as an NFL player that tells me that's going to be the case? Absolutely not. So I kind of just shook my head at this and just thought, I'd definitely be taking whatever they ate Joe Dahl, even if it was $1 or $2 million a year, and putting that towards the old snacks and sleigh money, or keeping that piggy bank full. Because as I told Arthur, I think it was, I said, bro, if they cut Joe Dahl right now or next year, there's no big line for Joe Dahl. There's nobody clamoring, beating down our door for Joe Dahl. Like, you're going to be able to get him next year. You're going to be able to get him 3 years from now. Like, nobody's excited about this guy. Why? Because he's never done anything. Now, hopefully he's been in that weight room. He's going to take a huge leap forward, and I'd love him to start over Kenny Wiggins. Great. Good for him. But I don't see it until I actually see this guy in a football uniform doing things that are actually somewhat impressive, and haven't seen that, and we're going on year 4 now. Now I'm done.
It's okay. That's a good take. I mean, I kind of felt the same way. I'm just like, okay. I mean, we've been I agree with you. I've been hearing few things. Yeah, he's competing. He's doing better. Then I'm watching the NFL Network because the Patriots are in Allen Park, so they're there for the Patriots naturally. But they're talking about the Lions here and there, and at one point that shows the projected starting lineup for the Lions, and it showed their offense because they were chatting with Matt Stafford, and their offensive line, they had obviously Decker and Wagner at the tackles. At center they had Glasgow. At left guard they had Ragnow, and at right guard they had Abushi. And I'm just like, where are these guys getting their information from? I mean, because we're reading stuff like, Wiggins is going to be that. Ragnow's taking a bunch of snaps at center. I'm also reading a few things that Glasgow's actually taken more snaps with kind of like the second team offensive line. Once again, probably just trying out Wiggins and Abushi, and I completely understand that. But like Joe Dahl wasn't even mentioned. They'd even bring this guy up, but
who had that crazy offensive line? Where'd you get that from? Lions?
That was the NFL Network.
I wasn't Lions 24/7. Are you sure?
No, I am positive that was NFL Network, because Charlie Casserly was talking about how the offense is going to be improved, and I'm just like, first, I'm not a huge Charlie Casserly fan, but he loves Baker Mayfield. But beyond that, that's for the last show.
Smart man, man.
But anyways, like Joe Dahl, like you said, it's just like, okay, I mean, if Joe Dahl's out there, I mean, he's going to be working next to Brandon Pettigrew and, at the same bowling alley, he's going to be the guy only in the lanes on Friday night. So, okay. I mean, Joe Dahl, congrats on the money, but, if anything, he's just going to be a depth guy. So, like you said, in 4 years I've been here, I haven't seen him turn into anything that's going to make me remember, any great offensive guard, Bill Fralick or anybody like that. So, so congrats on the money, Joe Dahl. That's I got to say that. So
good job, Joe Dahl. You better now actually play football.
Yeah. One other quick thing I wanted to mention to you. I just read this as well, and Justin Coleman is he's not having that great of camp. He's actually been demoted to the second team, and he's actually been kind of getting burned on by a few of the second team offensive wide receivers. Is this just kind of like getting his feet wet? Is this maybe one of those things where maybe, Matt Pat and, Mother Hubbard are just trying to get a fire lit underneath him? What do you think about this? Does this make you kind of like wonder, what we paid him? Maybe regret that? Or is this just kind of, nothing, no worry to you at all?
Grifka, you already know that I'm not worried about this type of dumb crap, but I do have a sound effect for most Lions fans when you bring this up, because they fall in the same trap you do on this type of garbage. That's Lions Nation when they hear our new nickel corner at $9 million is he's not playing well. Oh, I mean, is he on the second team? This sounds like a Dave Burkett question to me, Grifka. And speaking of, I saw this numbskull today in the background of a YouTube video with his stupid fishing hat on with the big Spartan S. Are you freaking kidding me, man? Let's get some professionalism with some of these people, man. Really, a fishing hat in normal, just everyday life? Who does that? Anyway, back to Coleman. Like, again, I fall for none of this crap. Like, okay, the guy's new. He's getting his feet under him. There's nothing to this. This guy's going to be good. They've been kind of playing him on the outside due to other injuries. We all know from the get-go that he's a nickel inside slot type corner. When they put him there, when the real bullets are flying, he's going to be excellent. I think this is all just a bunch of nothing right now.
Yeah, it's like you said, they've been playing him outside, and I think there was one of those things they were trying just to see. It was like, yeah, this guy can be that, even though, me and you have talked on past shows. I mean, we really need help. The Lions really need help at nickel, so I'm not saying they can just shove anybody else on the other side, opposite Slay, and they'll be fine. I think they were just kind of trying them out there, seeing exactly where it was in case there was injuries, when they can fill the nickel spot, maybe a little easier, if they slide Coleman over. But I believe the defense will be better if Coleman is playing that nickel spot as opposed to, the number 2 cornerback. So, I didn't put too much into this either. Once again, though, the headline caught me. Like you said, you can play that music again, because I'm just like, what? And then I read it, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably all it is. Maybe that's what it is. Coleman, he signed big money. Came in, thought he had everything kind of wrapped up. Maybe it is just kind of lighting a fire underneath him, But like you said, when the bullets start flying come the regular season, I think he'll be out there and he'll be playing as well as he has before. So I'm not too worried about it at that point.
That's that Lions 24/7 headline garbage when Griff just stops in his tracks. I need to play that after every one of these Friday questions you give me, where it's just like sky is falling, Grifka's worried, he's making the Kool-Aid drinkers worried about nothing, and then Justin Coleman will be the best interior cornerback we've had in about a decade.
Yeah, but how can Lions 24/7 be wrong? They're obviously covering them 24/7. It's right in the name. Gosh,
that's a valid point.
Yeah, see, they probably have all the insiders. It's probably my buddy who calls me at 3 a.m, lets me know what's happening in Allen Park.
Absolutely.
You just can't give me his name. I'm like, who is this? Okay.
Loser.
That would be sweet if I came across one time. Yeah, this is Loser. What?
Loser.
Okay. Well, let's do this. There's a few other topics I want to cover. Just go over things. But how about we take a break here, get a word from our sponsors? Does that sound good?
Let's get them in, no doubt. Come back and see what else you got for me, Griff. I'm ready for you. What's going on, Detroit Koolaid listeners? By now, most of you have probably heard of Reality Sports Online, the most powerful fantasy sports platform where owners get to build and manage their fantasy team just like an NFL general manager. But the question is, have you tried it? It's time to go see what all the buzz in the Dynasty community is all about. I'm talking free agency, multi-year contracts, a rookie draft, multi-team trades, franchise tags, contract extensions, first-round rookie options, automated contract and salary cap functionality, and much, much more. Think it sounds complicated? It's not. The best thing about Reality Sports Online Fantasy Front Office is it doesn't take any more time than a standard league. It just requires more strategy. Think you're among the fantasy elite? Well, this is the platform to test your mettle. Still not sure? You can test out your general manager skills for free in a mock free agency auction. If you like what you see, use promo code Koolaid, one word lowercase, promo code Koolaid, to receive a 10% discount on your team or league today. Fantasy just got real at realitysportsonline.com.
Okay, everybody, we're back. Just want to cover a few things here. Got a couple questions for Derek for a couple things that I noticed this week. I know he's a big fan of PFF, and they do ratings of everything. And they, at some point, right after the draft, they put ratings out of certain positions for each team, and they rank them and how they feel. I want to start with this, Derek, and I just want to let you know, I want to get your opinion on if this ranking is maybe too high, too low, sounds about right. But PFF, after the draft, they rated the Lions' run defense as the 5th best run defense in the league. And they put them the overall defense at number 12. But the 5th best, was actually the 2nd best run defense in the division. They actually have, I think, if I remember correctly, they had the Bears rated the number 1 run defense. But so number 5 run defense. I mean, do you think that's accurate? You think it's maybe too high, maybe too low? Think they're better than the Bears? And what about 12th overall? I know we've talked, try to get this defense, in the top 10, 12 to 15, somewhere like that. So, what do you think? Do you think PFF is correct on this? Maybe a little off?
Is this from last year or they're projecting for 2019?
This is projecting for 2019 after the draft. They do these rankings after the draft.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see much wrong with those numbers. I mean, again, I think when we were talking, top 10, top 8, that was, best case scenario. That was, before we pulled in a Mike Daniels. So, putting them at 12 overall before they have really done anything, I don't have a huge issue with. When it comes to run defense at number 5, I mean, that just seems that seems like we should be very happy with that. I mean, we were really good in the run last year, but have a an organization like PFF that all they do is basically break down every play of every game, like to be able to say that they're projecting us to be the 5th team in run defense, I mean, seems like something we can hang our hat on and try to win football games with that type of run stuffing, overall defense. And like I say, I would take those numbers and think that with a Mike Daniels and with some better corner play, but Justin Coleman and others, that I think that, we have a higher ceiling than that as well. But definitely take that right off the bat, and I had no issues.
Yeah. Do you think the Bears being the best one? I believe, if I remember correctly, they had the Vikings somewhere like around 12 or 13. And they had the Packers down in like the low 20s, I think like 21 or 22, somewhere in that ballpark right there. Lions' second best run defense. Yeah, number 5. I'm real happy with that. Still, I think the Bears number 1. Like you said, PFF, they do all the breakdown of everything, but still, I'm like, I always think the Bears are a little overrated. I still think they suck, no matter what. But so
they're not that great.
So. They're not that great. Exactly. So, 5th best run defense. I was just, reading the article that, like I said, this is before Mike Daniels. So, I mean, even with him, they could probably bump it up, maybe a couple spots with him. And even that would bump the total defense up, to the top 10, maybe that we're looking for right there. But, it's a good starting point right there. It's kind of, especially total defense, a little under the radar. I mean, middle of the pack, gives this team something to like really shoot for. Like you said it before, they're pros. They really don't need bulletin board material. They know what they're about. They know what they can do. Now it's just a matter of the defensive coordinator, Mother Hubbard, putting them in the right position, right schemes to fully get the most amount of the talent that this defense has. But number 5 run defense, I mean, it's been not since like the Ndamukong Suh defense where they magically lost to the Cowboys in the playoffs somehow in that rigged playoff game where they've had like that good a run defense. So number 5, real happy with that myself. And, with Daniels on the team, I think you might even be able to bump that up into maybe the top 3. So maybe that's just me drinking Kool-Aid, don't eat the cornbread. So, feel free to ping me on that and let me know if I'm way out of bounds on that.
Drink it in, man.
Exactly.
Cornbread.
Okay. The next one I got for you. This one always deals with something that we always want to talk about. We're always looking for this group to get better. Once again, after the draft, the PFF has rated the Detroit Lions offensive line 15th overall. Middle of the pack. Once again, looking for them to improve. 15. How do you feel about that number?
Oh, the good old offensive line, Grifka. I'm sure the people are waiting on the edge of their chair for your take, where you're going to go, crack on 3 or 4 of our offensive linemen who are much more than above average good football players. So I can't wait for that take. But my whole thing with the offensive line is I think Bob Quinn's had a great plan. He's come in here, he's drafted, he's went free agency, he's added good football players. Have they played at the absolute top of their game, like elite, offensive line? Absolutely not. But I mean, in some, if not maybe more situations than not, have they been, better than I would say I've seen lines in the past? I mean, I think so, and I think they have upside. So to put them in the middle, basically, of the NFL with probably an upside to be 12 to 15 range, yeah. I mean, I don't think this is going to be a top 8 offensive line, maybe even not a top 10, but can they be right in that upper middle end of the league? Of course they can, because Taylor Decker's a good football player. Frank Ragnow at center should be much better in his second year. Glasgow's a solid player, and Rick Wagner does what he needs to do as a right tackle for the most part. Now you can go ahead and crack on his contract and tell us how Taylor Decker relates to a former Lion that was actually a very good football player most of the time too. So go ahead in 3, 2, 1.
Child, please.
Please.
15. I can live with 15, but like you said, I mean, there's a few guys. I mean, you're talking about how good, or above average
Here we go,
guys
people.
are. I mean, once again, I mean, Taylor Decker, he'll be out there playing. He's okay. I mean, he's not the best left tackle in the world. He's not the worst, but he's completely average.
Grifka, Taylor Decker when he sees you.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, I don't see that happening, but I just might be able to bull rush him, put him on his knees like the guy from the Patriots did at practice. And okay. Anyway, Rick Wagner. I mean, I know PFF they rate them all, and I still kind of question their ratings because he seems to be like a turnstile every once in a while. Makes me wonder. And yeah, you're right. He gets paid an awful lot. And we've talked about that. A couple of years from now, or even next year, he might be one of those cap casualties simply for the amount of money that he makes. And
what? You're going to get rid of Rick Wagner, isn't that right, Grifka? That's your big plan, is to get rid of a good football player
next year, and go with your guy Crosby, who's cheap. He's cheap, so we can save some money there.
Okay.
Like you said, Frank Ragnow, he's playing center, his natural position. I believe he will improve this year. Don't know if he will be Pro Bowl status though, but if he keeps taking leaps and bounds forward, he will be a solid player for this offensive line. Graham Glasgow, he's solid enough to move, center to guard, play either guard position, smart enough to be able to play it as well. Once again, just a hole at the other side. Like I mentioned, NFL Network, it had Ibushi there. Other people say Wiggins will be there. It doesn't sound like any of the rookie free agents are really competing or showing a whole lot in training camp right now to win that spot. So 15, I mean, I can live with 15th right now. It could be one of those things where if Ragnow doesn't develop, it'll obviously be a little lower. But if he develops, he could probably bump up. Like you said, I don't see top 10. I think maybe right now the highest this offensive line could go is maybe like 12th. And that would be, I think, playing kind of a little bit above their heads. But once again, that's just my opinion. Everybody feel free to ping me on that if you think I'm jumping the shark on that.
At Grifka DKC, everybody. And Grifka, let's just put this right on the table for the people so we can get this on record. So you just went on a big diatribe. You sort of repeated almost half my take, but you basically went down the offensive line for our Detroit Lions, and you basically said that each one of them are not that they're not that what's that phrase you use all the time?
They could stand room for improvement.
Go ahead and say it for the people, Grifka, so we have it on record. You think the Lions' offensive line is what?
Taylor Decker, you're not that great.
And you went in and
make an awful lot of money, so you got to play a little better. So right now, you're not playing that great.
And what'd you say about Frank Ragnow? Might as well keep it going.
No, he needs to improve. I believe he'll take leaps and bounds if he's back at his natural position. I believe Graham Glasgow is smart enough player, good enough player to be able to commute back to the left guard position or even right guard if they're looking to fill that hole. It's just right now filling in the right guard. I believe like you said, Ibushi, Wiggins, looking for that spot right there. That is probably right now the weakest link in the offensive line. So who's ever playing right there right now is not playing that great.
What is going to make you happy with the offensive line? You're like every other fan where you're going, I don't know that right or left guard. I mean, we got to get that figured out. Do you want 5 Pro Bowlers or what's going to make you happy? Because you're saying Frank Ragnow that he's not that great, and he's also not great. So what is he? Because we drafted him in a good spot. He plays pretty good football.
Right now. He's okay right now. He's average right now, but once again, he's a first-round pick, so you want him to be your stalwart, your Rock of Gibraltar there at center. So, I mean, the second year going in there, what is so funny about that? If that's what you're looking for, I mean, like I said, you want a Marquise Pouncey, you want a Nick Mangold right there, you want a Mike Webster right there. I mean, that's what you want. I mean, is he Mike Webster? Not even close, considering Mike Webster's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I'm glad you're just
I'm laughing at your take.
I'm glad you're happy with a bunch of average guys out there. They brought Bevel in to improve the run game. If the run game's improved either by scheme and by the players doing it, fine, cool. I will live with that. But seeing where we have rush games of 67 yards. I mean, yeah, there was a few games last year where Kerryon busted some runs off. Cool, got over 100 yards. Sweet, awesome. But we also had a lot of games as well, as you saw, where the run game was ineffective. So I'm not saying we got to, put up 150, 200 yards rushing every game. That's not what I'm saying. But like when this team is throwing up 58 yards rushing, that's not going to cut in the pros. You're getting close to, 100 yards, cracking 100 yards. That's what this team needs. So yeah, that would make me happy since you just asked. But yeah, would I take 5 Pro Bowlers on the offensive line? Who wouldn't? Of course, duh. I mean, I know you wouldn't want 5 Pro Bowlers because it would cost too much and it would affect every aspect of the team. Oh gosh, we need to trade them away so we can have a great 5th wide receiver or a great 4th down back. So whatever.
Okay, well, we appreciate the rant, Grifka, and the passion, but the main reason I laughed at you is because you said Rocket Gibraltar, which who says that in real life? Nobody. I don't know. I was about to say, do you want to give us a history lesson on that? But I don't know that we have time. But you got any fun facts about the?
Tommy,
about
go
Rocket...
back to school for 7 years and study a globe and find out where the Rocket Gibraltar is, and okay.
Come on, why don't you enlighten the people for a second?
No, I'm not going to do that. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, last rating. What's that?
Okay. I was gonna come back at you about your offensive line take because you just feel like I don't know, you're running yourself in circles. Like, okay, we spent all these resources on offensive line, but because they don't dominate football every week, you think that 2 or 3 of them are no good. What do you want to do? You just want to go in the draft and go take another one? Like, how many times have we did that with the 15th pick? The Lions select another offensive lineman because Grifka's not happy with what he has. Like, all these guys have to do is play better, Grifka. You don't go out and just look for these dominant players just because you're weak at a couple positions. And you undersell everybody. They don't have a dominant game. Oh, he's not that great. He's not good. It's just like these guys show up and they fit the mold. They all are a good unit. They just have to step their game up a little bit more and they'll be good.
But
like,
there's a few
I don't know
guys
what
that
your
have been
issue is.
There's a few guys that have been here for a while that should be showing something. I mean, Rick Wagner, obviously, he's been around a long time. Taylor Decker, he's kind of like, we kind of know what he is.
Yeah, these guys aren't turnstiles. All you do is you do the Grifka. You only notice the one time they get beat. What about the other 40 times where they're solid at their position? Oh, I guess you missed those plays.
Solid. Like I said, Jeff Backus and Taylor Decker are the exact same tackle. I mean, neither one of them were Lomas Brown. And I know you're a big fan of Lomas Brown, and we did see him at practice walking in.
Hey.
So, but neither one of them are. Lomas Brown was better than both Jeff Backus and Taylor Decker. I mean, Taylor Decker is exactly the same as Jeff Backus. They're average tackles.
We heard you. We heard that take. I don't even want to hit the bell. You've done that take so much. But let's keep moving. But all I want to say,
guys, you oversell guys. You're like, oh, because they play for the Lions. If this guy played on the Cardinals, if Taylor Decker played on the Cardinals, you would think you'd be like, yeah, he's not that great. But he plays for the Lions, and all of a sudden he's wearing the Honolulu blue, and you think he's out there. He's like the Great Wall of China out there. I mean, no, it's just he's not. He's look at his warts. He's average. Okay, he's average at best.
Grifka, you give us a history lesson on the Great Wall of China for the people?
Well, even the Great Wall of China couldn't keep out the Mongols.
That's not a good call. No.
You don't like that call.
I don't like that call. Not a very good call.
All right, can we move on now?
Sure. No problem.
The people are so educated thanks to you, Grifka. You're just enlightening, helping everybody out. I appreciate it.
Like I said, I'm not dumbing down my vocabulary and my history because we have very smart listeners, okay? They know what I'm talking about.
Everybody, Washington, Southern team.
Below the Mason-Dixon. Get your atlas out of your glove box and look it up. Okay. Next one. Okay, last one I have. question for you. NFL.com did this one, and they do this every year. Obviously, they pick every team's triplets. Obviously, it's quarterback, best running back, and the best wide-out tight end. And they rated the Lions triplets as 19th in the NFL. And per the article, they used Matt Stafford, Kerryon Johnson, and they went with Kenny Galladay.
Carry on my wayward son.
Who was the third one, Griffo? We gotta get that in.
Kenny Galladay was the third one they used as their best wide receiver. Now, during the article, I did read that they did hint at Marvin Jones, and they actually did hint at your boy TJ Hawkinson, but they went with Kenny Galladay. So 19th. Once again, that's kind of middle of the pack on the low side of the middle. But what do you think about 19th? What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. I'm torn on it because, they haven't done it yet. So I'm hesitant to put them in that 12, 15, top 10 range. But those, especially Kerryon and Kenny Boy, I mean, they've got really high ceilings and they're just not household names. So 19th overall, I mean, the take to me in general, I mean.
That's pitiful. I mean, it's absolutely pitiful.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm really curious this year to see Kenny Boy because I was high on him. He stepped up. He played great. He's made plays in practice. Just what's his ceiling? Because this guy is such a good interview. He seems to have his head on so straight. He looks like such an athlete in the uniform. He can do everything. But will we max out his potential? And what is it? Is his potential like, kind of in that top 10 receiver range, or is he middle of the pack receiver on a team that doesn't throw it that much? So to me, in that situation, Kenny is the wild card. Kenny's the swing guy. If he blows up and he's just unguardable and just housing people, I mean, we know Kerryon is going to do his thing, or at least we think so if he doesn't get injured. And then good old Matt Stafford, man. Like, I have really no idea what we're going to see. There's been so many mixed reports and what the offense is going to be, but I'd love to see the old Matt Stafford back. I'll tell you that, where he's got moxie, he's throwing it around, he's talking some trash, he's leading this football team, being gritty, being grimy. Like, I think if he's that, Kenny is the explosive athlete that he appears to be, and Kerryon's anything the running back that we saw against Miami, look out. They could definitely be in that top. Gosh, I'm just going to put them at like 12 as their ceiling right now. But, they could continue to climb up. But, I mean, 12 to 15, again, seems like a fair range, but 19 is a little too low. It's actually pitiful, as Jim Moore said.
It's pitiful. My take, I believe this 19th ranking hinges a lot on what Matt Stafford has done, where he's kind of, like you said, he's kind of lost that swagger over the last couple of years. He's kind of been the check down Charlie, and they haven't really driven the ball down the field, with a lot of deep passes. Every once in a while you see one, but it just doesn't seem to be a big part of the game plan. Maybe Bevel will change that. I know they're trying to do the, a lot more of the play action, establish the run, draw the safeties up where they can take the shots down the field. So I believe that 19th ranking is pretty much based, a lot of it, it's heavily weighted to what Matt Stafford is right now. And, like you said, the other two, they're still young. What ceiling do they have? It's like one of those things like this. I don't want to say fear's like the wrong word. If this team had like a younger quarterback, if they were rating like Johnson and Galladay with like Jared Goff, if they were rating them, with somebody like that, I believe the number would be higher. But I think right now they're all based on Matt Stafford, and where they feel he is at. And I don't know if he's the one, I don't want to say anchoring, holding them back. But if they're going to continue to keep Matt Stafford kind of caged and not let him sling the ball around, and keep them all like, safe, keep your completion percentage high by, looking for the dump pass out of the backfield or like out in the flat, then yeah, 19 sounds about right. But if you're going to let him sling the ball around, and offensive line's going to open up holes for Kerryon, and yeah, has monster games like he did against Miami, and turns into the bell cow that we're really looking for, that's going to be one of those things where yeah, up there, 11, 12, 13. That's a very possibility for this group right there.
And the reason I hedged on it too is because 19, even though I said it's pitiful because of the type of talents I think some of these players are, like on the flip side of that coin, on the Grifka side, like, the way they've played, especially last year, the way the offense has looked, and even, in worst case scenario, as you often do, like 19 could be a good number, based on kind of what they've done in recent history from an offensive perspective. So that's why I was kind of hemming and hawing, because I was like, 19 is really not that bad considering the year they're coming off. And then it's all about what they do, because, it's that show me, like go out and show me, and I'll move you up to 15. And then you really ball out, I'll get you up to 12, and you play at the top level, maybe we're getting you in that 12 to 10 range. So I think it's all about what they do this year. And obviously that publication is sort of projecting them forward, because they sure as heck weren't 19 last year. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that take. I mean, you got to get the bell out on that one. That's a good take right there. Real good. Okay.
I thought you'd like that. I mean, I wonder why.
Yeah. That's all. I just kind of want to touch base on those, get your opinion on some of those. There are areas that we've been talking about, the defense, the defensive line, the O-line, where I really wanted to get your take on that one. And then especially, other teams, you read some of them. I was reading some of those rankings, and a lot of them, just based on, where guys are at, and I think some of them they kind of projected a little higher, based on where they could be. So your take on, ball out, get them up there in, 11, 12 range. I think NFL.com did that with a few other teams already saying, these guys are there. So, me though, I'm always like, show me before I put you there.
Well, what are some of those teams, Griffith, that might have got some treatment and might be up higher than maybe they should be?
Oh, I would have to. The Packers were one of them, of course, because once again, Aaron Rodgers is going to be back to his old self. Even though the guy's like, old and their wide receivers are terrible, and they have no running game. So, yeah, that was one team I thought was they were rated above Detroit, and I'm just like, so that one was all based on Aaron Rodgers himself. So, yeah. No.
Griffith, since you took a pot shot at the end of the last show, please tell me where the triplets of Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, and Nick Chubb were on that list. I mean, they probably have 5 other playmakers, but just tell me where my top couple were, because I guarantee you they were top 5.
I can't remember right off the top of my head. Honestly, I can't remember where they were off the top of my head. But I'm sure they were probably rated like number 3 because they listened to our podcast. And since, you got a big man crush on Odell and Baker Mayfield, they're like, well, Derek Oakley knows what he's talking about too. He's got to be top 3. So
at Derek Oakley on Twitter, get it right, Grifka. Exactly. All right, so that's all you got, Grifka. Are you good for the day?
Yeah, I mean, I know you teased something. Said you wanted to mention something for me to listen to or bring something up. So I'm interested in this.
Yeah, I got something for you. So again, we've been encouraging people to sort of, we haven't been promoting it. Again, me and Grifka are not the best when it comes to social media or like getting all our different stuff out there, but we have tried to give you guys quite a bit in regards to what we're trying to do with our show. And a while ago, we just sort of created that Detroit Koolaid Cast Listener Line where you can call up and rant and rave. You can give a take. You can tell us feedback about the show. You can make fun of Grifka. You can do all types of things. So we want to encourage you to use that line. The number, once again, is 989-272-3484. You can call that on your phone, or you can actually even text us stuff. So if you don't hit us up on Twitter and you're like, man, how do I get at these guys? I want to send them a question. I want to give them something about the show or tell them how great the show is. We would love all that. And you can actually just even send us a quick text like you would your friend. Just shoot us a quick message and we'll read it. And you may get on the show. Make sure you leave your name, maybe your city where you're from. But anyway, so that's kind of been dormant. We haven't been using it on the show, but we did get a call, and I thought I'd play it. 1, because it's funny, entertaining. 2, because it's directed towards you. And 3, because just to remind people that you can have some fun when you come on the listener line here. I mean, this is a guy, I want to say he's called before, Grifka. You may recognize him. Take a listen, and then I'll get your take.
Hey, DKC, This is your old buddy Conrad down here in Huntsville, Alabama. It's been way, way too long, my friend, so I decided to call in and talk a little Detroit Lions. Roll Tide, baby. First thing I want to say is, Grifka, I'm always on your side, man. Okra, he don't know what he talking about, man.
Okra?
That's just the bottom line, you hear me? Question I have is, I was on that old Google machine today, and did you realize that our old number 9 quarterback, Matthew Stafford, is 1,475 yards away from the 40,000 mark? Now, if he gets that in a couple games, he will be the fastest player to ever hit that number as a quarterback. I don't know, Okra don't care about no dumb stats, but I know Grifka, what's this mean to you, man? Does this mean anything? Or you just want that man to win some games? Anyway, I'm going to hang up now. I just called the chat. This is yours, your biggest fan. This is Stan.
Oh, Conrad, he's called up the show before. He's obviously hashtag Team Grifka for life. Roll Tide, baby. But Grifka, what do you got to say about Matt Stafford and those stats he threw out? Because you know me. Just go win some football games.
Yeah, that's a lot to take in on that call, to be honest. Yeah, it's nice to have, but it's kind of empty if it's not, if it doesn't really lead to anything. So it's cool. It's nice to have. I don't know if that's one of those things where it gets to the point like where, I'm not worried about guys making the Hall of Fame, especially the NFL Hall of Fame, because it seems like every year they always put just like a bunch of guys in there, and at one point I'm like, who's this guy? It's one of those stats that, like, if it comes to fruition and happens, then people are going to be pointing towards that, saying, see, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, best we ever had. But if it doesn't lead to any wins, no playoff wins, it's obviously at this point a very poor record against teams with 500 winning, over 500 winning percentage. So it's just kind of fruitless. So win some games, and if you get it, cool. I mean, if it's one of those things where you're putting up big stats, winning games, and you hit that, awesome, more power to you, and I would love that. But if it's one of those things he's throwing up those stats and this team just isn't what we thought it would be, then it's just kind of like, yay, nice job, but here's a cookie, but if there's nothing behind it, it's just empty.
Yeah, I'll give a quick response, but first, Conrad, this is for you, bro.
Know your role and shut your mouth, because the people's champ is ready to talk.
And first of all, Conrad, it's Okra, not Okra. Get it right, bro. Second of all, you wanted to hear from Grifka. Grifka gave you your take. Are you asleep now? Because just like Triple Z, good old Zach Zenner, Grifka put you to bed, I'm sure. Matt Stafford, I don't care one lick about these stats. Oh, the quickest to this, the quickest to that. Did you watch him his first 6 years of his career? All he did was throw the football, especially in the fourth quarter, and put up stats. Nobody cares about any of these numbers. Oh, he's the Lions leading in everything. Yeah, because we never had a quarterback that was any good since the 40s or 50s or whatever. So get these stats out of here. Get these worthless numbers. Go win us games. And I don't want you winning games in September, October that don't mean anything either. How about you go win some big games on somebody else's field in December and January, and preferably the playoffs. And then I'll give you some dap, and then I'll say roll Tide, baby. So that's my take. Grifka, Conrad loves you. I mean, Conrad Stan, I don't know what his name is, but yeah, that's my take from Okra. So you can take that and shove it, Conrad.
Okra. I think you got a new nickname. Conrad, thank you. Roll Tide.
Are we good now, Grifka? You got anything else? I don't know, for the people?
Nope.
Everybody, we've had some fun shows this week. We got Lions football. We'll be talking about it next week, talking about what happened against the Patriots, as well as all things Detroit Lions as we head through this preseason, heading towards the regular season. So thank you so much. Hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Derek Okrie, DEREK OKRIE. And you can get at Grifka, especially with hate tweets, at Grifka DKC. So thank you, everybody. We'll catch you next week. We're out.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions. Drink it in, man.